I'm Janet Belden, and I'm a nurse in the birthing center. And this is Kathy, and we're representing what Dr. Marchese always referred to as his gals. And we're all family. And I'm going to share some stories, and Denise, I can't keep it to 3 minutes. Sorry. But I'm going to share some fun stories and memories, and then Kathy's going to share a beautiful letter that one of our gals wrote to him. So I'm going to share some stories, and some of us have had the honor of working alongside Doc for 30 plus years, so we have a lot of amazing stories and wonderful memories to share with you, but I'm just going to relay a few. As many of you know, Dr. M loved to hug, and he never came onto the unit without giving each one of us up there on the floor a big bear hug, a lot of times lifting us off the ground. He was really strong. He was always cheerful and enthusiastic and treated us all very much with dignity and self-respect. He saw us as his team members and not as his subordinates. He valued our opinions and always appreciated everything we did for his patients. In all our years of working with him, not one of us ever recalls a time when he ever lost his temper, or even remotely lost his cool, even when he was very sleep deprived. And I know there were many times that he was, because he did keep the craziest hours. A lot of times he would round at 11 o'clock at night, and sometimes as early as 5 in the morning. But his deliveries were always a joy. And he always held that baby right up after delivery so that mom could always get the first look. And many of you probably even have one of those pictures of Dr. Marchese holding that baby up right after delivery. It didn't matter if it was his 10th delivery or his 900th delivery. It was always a very revered and precious experience for him, and he made it that way for each mom. Also, Dr. Marchese had the honor of delivering the only set of triplets in Watauga County. And I know several patients, including Terry, the mother of the trips, that he actually made house calls to. And he went above and beyond to give them excellence and care and being diligent in providing for them and taking care of them and their unborn. And I also had the privilege of working with him at the office. And I was amazed at the women that would wait all day to see him, as that's already been mentioned. But when I started working there, I really came to understand why they would wait all day to see him. The second he entered the room, everything else dropped. And he gave that patient, that woman, his undivided attention and took however much time they needed to discuss their concerns. He was patient beyond measure, and the details he remembered about everyone's lives were incredible. He would remember that Mrs. Green's great-uncle's brother's nephew's son had an incredible chainsaw that he loved. And the patient would just light up because he would remember these details, and that made her feel so special and so unique. And that was his way. He made the children that came with their moms feel so special and never a burden in the doctor's office. And he would always lead them down the hall to his little candy cabinet and load them up with Tootsie Rolls and lollipops. And he would just give them hordes of candy. The moms were always thankful. He was a sucker for good candy. But what OBGYN in the country do you know that even had men sometimes in the waiting room waiting to see Dr. M? Some of them were our husbands. You know who you are. I won't rat you out, but there were men that were his patients. And of course, we would be remiss if we didn't mention also his jokes. We were inundated on a daily basis with all of his newest jokes. And being his gals, we had to laugh. Even if we heard them several days in a row, we laughed. But one of our favorite ones was with one of our nurses, Martha. And she was calling out to him one day. She needed help, and she said she needed him to help her with number 2. Well, she meant the patient in birthing room number 2, but of course he never let up, teasing her relentlessly that she needed help going number 2. And Martha still turns red, and we all still giggle to this day over that joke that he always loved to give her a hard time over. And we always loved how he shortened all of our names. We all had nicknames. We were Aim, Jan, Lib, Kath, Beck, Mitz, Ms. V, Lindy, Jude, Kel, just to name a few. We all had our nicknames to him. And what a void we felt when we no longer heard our names or jokes or received his hugs on the floor. But then came a special time for us to return to him all the words of encouragement and gifts of love and kindness that he had given to us through the years. Because he was the first obstetric specialist in the area and the community and truly was the founding father of our birthing center, we pursued, along with other people in the community, the naming of our birthing center after him. And what a gift that he was still alive to see that honor bestowed on one who was so worthy. We also were able to celebrate his 70 years of age combined with a retirement party. And that was just a really fun night that we had right before he was sick. Yet some of our most precious times were the times when we went to see him on Sunday afternoons, to visit and love on him and Denise after he became ill. I'll never forget one afternoon we were there for dessert, and we had taken some desserts, and he said, "Girls, I know you just brought dessert, but I was wondering if I could say a blessing before we ate." And so we held hands. He grabbed all of our hands and blessed us with the most beautiful prayer that he prayed over us. And he always thanked God for us and never ceased to tell us how much he loved us and cherished his gals. So I know I speak for all of us when I say that we were forever impacted as nurses and as families by his spirit of grace, gentleness, and love. He truly exhibited the fruits of the Spirit in his everyday life, and we were witnesses to it every day. We had the privilege of bringing a new life into this world alongside this most amazing man. If during your lifetime you're fortunate enough to know someone that cares for others as deeply as Dr. Marchese did, then you have been blessed, and we all have been blessed.